Well, hello, welcome back to Tattoos and Toddlers. On this episode, I randomly met somebody in a Clubhouse room.
Yes.
Go figure. This is something that has happened to me over the last 3 years where I showed up on Clubhouse and I meet amazing voices. Notice I said voices. We meet voices before we meet faces. And I love the fact that I get to sit with you today and meet you face to face. And I want to just say welcome to you today. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, hello. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. I am Lotus the coach. I am a resilience coach. I coach women into overcoming setbacks. Also, I am the founder of Peace of Healing for Her, where we offer free to no cost resilience workshops, coaching, and conferences.
That is amazing. I know that we're going to get to know each other even more on this podcast today, but I would love to see more about what you're doing in those realms too, because I just love the fact that we have more tools and resources now than ever before to navigate life right now, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
and this was what this podcast is about. It's about navigating our lives, and every life that I've ever talked to is different. My life is different than your life. I love the fact that we can all sit and have conversations and talk about our lives, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, is sharing our authentic life. Like,
Yes.
what are we doing that we're passionate about? What are we doing that we're struggling with? How do we show up authentically and still be a mess? I have a great
Right.
story for that part too, because it's just so much fun that we have to learn how to show up in the mess and in the beautiful moments too.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and start talking about that. This is my one of my most favorite topics because I'm on this journey too. So what does that mean to you to be showing up authentically, and how can we navigate that conversation today?
So for me, I struggled a lot showing up authentically myself because I was I my accent, like how I talk. So I
Oh.
would like shy away from talking, even though I enjoy talking, and I would say, "Oh, I'm shy. I don't want to talk because I don't want people to hear my accent." Because when I went to the military, I am a U.S. Army veteran. I got picked on a lot for how I talk, so I would shy
Hmm.
away from how I talk. But now that I am getting into coaching, that was a hurdle that I had to get over is understanding that this is me, this is a part of me, this makes me unique, this allow me to show up the best way I can. I don't have to mask the way I talk, and it also allows me to be relatable to other people, because I am not all stiff and trying to enunciate all my words a certain way. So
Yes.
it allows other to like, oh, she's relatable. She's not all so yeah. So it means me every day looking at myself and telling me myself that it's okay. You good. People got your voice matters. It doesn't matter how it sounds or how you show up. Your voice still matter. And that's something I instill in my daughter as well. Your voice is your voice. Show up the best way you can and who you are. And it doesn't matter as long as you're being you.
Yeah, I found this my most powerful transition moment for this exact thing was on Clubhouse when the world shut down and we had nothing but time on our hands. And I'm in the weddings and event industry. So we didn't have anything that we could go do because everything we do involves a lot of people.
Right.
And so all we did was listen to each other's voices in a time where normally we would not listen to each other's voices.
Hmm.
And that's where I started finding my voice too. Like it shouldn't matter. I've had people, like, have physical reactions to seeing themselves on video and just really be disgusted on the way they
Right.
sound or look,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of over that now. Like, I'm
Mhm.
like, if I can't discuss the things that are in me, then it'll never get said, it'll never get done. These dreams that I have will never get manifested to anything other than a thought. I was like, the more I talk about things that I'm passionate about, the more I find that it invigorates others' passions. Do you find that as well?
Yes, yes, yes. As I have been exploring and going into my passions and showing up in my passions, others like, oh my gosh, you have inspired me to show up as I am. Or they'll be like, I need to find that little spunk you got. I need to go look for it because that's what I'm missing. And a lot of us, we are so afraid to show up as who we are of being judged and we want to fit in, but we weren't made to fit in. We were made uniquely and individuals to show up as we are and to embrace that. That is what makes the world go around is all of us being different, all of us showing our gifts to and sharing our gifts with each other, and it allows us to connect because I'm showing up as I am, you're showing up as who you are, and we connect on a individual level and see how we can relate in that.
Yeah, and I think now more than ever, we need connection. We need
Mhm.
connection, like true connection and community, because just, we can't do this life alone. And there's too many people that have either told themselves that they don't fit in, or they've told themselves that they're better off alone. I can do it all myself. There's something in 2015 that I put together, to show a relationship of what I feel like our lives should be like. And it's basically a jigsaw puzzle of like all together we make one beautiful clean puzzle. But individually, we're all differently shaped. We all fit together in certain ways. And, there's different people that are brought into our lives that we fit with. And sometimes they're in our lives for a while, and sometimes they're out of our lives for a while. I just love to think of us as all one giant puzzle. So we
Yes,
can
we
all fit
are. We
together.
are. And sometimes it's the smallest thing can connect you with
Yes.
someone. It could be the smallest thing, even a book or song or how we grew up, a favorite food. It there's connection in everything. And that's one of my life missions is to connect, collaborate, and co-create. Those are my 3 C's in life. Just connect. I want to connect with everyone because I know everyone has something to share. There's something in you that I can use, or there's something in me that you can use.
Absolutely. So, as we're navigating our conversation today about authenticity and showing up as ourselves, you shared one thing that was kind of holding you back, and that was like you were afraid of your voice or you weren't sure of your voice. What other things in your life have you been able to uncover as you're on this journey of exploring your authenticity and how you show up in conversation with other people or even in your own neighborhood? Like how do we navigate this kind of thing?
Yes, so in finding my voice, I used to feel like if I come on screen, I would have to have a face full of makeup, and
Yeah.
my hair would have to be a certain way, and I would have to be dressed a certain way. And once I started understanding who I am as a woman and my voice, I understand that I'm naturally beautiful. I don't have to have all these things to cover me and put a mask on. I'm going to show up as who I. Of course, I still like to, play in makeup or whatever, but it's not
Of
a
course.
necessity anymore. It's not something that I have to do, or it's not, or I'm going to shy away from certain areas or environments because I don't have on makeup. I'm just going to show up as who I am, and that has allowed me to love myself more and and embrace me, and my self-esteem has grown because I'm
Mhm.
able to face myself in a mirror and without makeup and not pick myself apart and just say, "Oh, you look beautiful today. Your skin is glowing today," or "Oh, you got a little blemish right here. We need to take care of that." Like, but I'm able to do that with myself and not feel like I have to tear myself down. And it allowed me to show up in different spaces, and I feel more confident in my community and helping my daughter, especially with my daughter, raising a young girl. That is a thing I've learned is to confidence and self-esteem and self-assurance is something that little girls really, really need from a young age.
Yeah, and there's something about I was going through speaking of my daughter and my child, they're cleaning out their stuff for their holiday break, right? And I'm looking through her papers, and there's a paper that said it looked like it was an exercise on things that you love in your life. And at the very end, she puts, "I love myself."
Oh, I love that.
I cried.
Yes. Yes.
It was
Yes, I
like,
love that.
how many times do I need to say that to myself? Like,
Yes.
I love myself. I thought that was
Yes.
the sweetest thing. Has your relationship with your daughter, is there any examples of moments that you've had where you've seen a little bit of you come out in your own daughter or the way that she sees the world, that has been beneficial to authenticity?
Yes, at the beginning of the year, I went through like a reinvention process. So I
Mm,
told myself, I was gonna dress differently. I was gonna when I go out, I want to look presentable. I want to look a certain way. And as I started doing that, I saw that my daughter, when she goes to school, she has to have the matching everything. And she's always saying, I'm so gorgeous. And then people are like, you're so beautiful. She's like, I know, I know. So
Aw.
I guess me embracing myself allowed her to embrace herself. And when I go to school, she's very proud. Oh, this is my mom. This is my mom. And so, like, but yes, that's how I feel like me embracing myself allowed her to embrace herself as a young girl.
And you know what's funny? I've had also the opposite happen for me recently where my daughter's like, "Mom, you never wear dresses. Mom, you never do this." And I'm just sitting here like, "You know what? She's not wrong." Like when I'm at my home environment, I am hoodies and t-shirts and tank tops and, and shorts all year long. And then every
Mhm.
once in a while, like my background photo that y'all can't see right now on the podcast, every once in a while I get this idea to express myself. And then, all of a sudden I'm the cool mom again.
Right.
But it's cute because as you navigate relationships in general, like, we thrive off of each other creatively, we
Mhm.
thrive off of each other in collaboration. So I love the fact that even our kids can teach us about collaboration and inspiration and the things that we wouldn't normally think about. These young kids, they really have a lot of insights to the world that we may not understand yet. And then for me, like, I've been alive for a long time from the 70s to now. So I'm like, I have this wide range of life, experience, but I love watching this new world through her eyes too, because it's so different than when I grew up.
Yes. I know yesterday we was out getting dinner and my daughter, she just when she gets to going, she can go. Like she can talk, ask millions and millions of questions. I was like, oh my gosh, Kennedy, you ask so many questions. And she was like, what you don't like when I ask questions? I said, no, I love when you ask questions, but sometimes it's too many at one time. And she's like, well, I'm only 8 years old. I have a lot to
Aw.
wonder about and I need to understand what's going on. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right.
It
We do
blows
need
my mind,
Yes.
our little tiny babies and how much we have had to take in over the years of our lifetime, and knowing that our babies are taking in so much right now,
Mhm.
everywhere, and trying to understand this world we live in.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
wild. It
Mhm.
is wild, and it is sometimes difficult because there's days where I just don't wanna talk. I'm like, "I don't wanna
Right.
say anything. I don't wanna ask any questions. I don't wanna answer any questions."
Yes.
And, of course, we know as parents, we can't always turn that button off.
Mhm. That's that balance of showing up as a present parent and
Uh,
dealing with your own things in your head at the same
yes.
time. Yes.
Yes. And then, being okay to apologize when you mess up with your kid.
Mhm.
And I think that is something that I've taken with me. I started my journey as an older parent. So I had her at 40. So I was already on my journey of learning how to forgive myself, learning how to ask for forgiveness from other people or say sorry for things I might have messed up on. So I find that whenever I lose it or I lose it for a moment and I've recognized it, and I'll go back and talk to her specifically about a moment where I might have raised my voice or said something. So I think there's something about that showing up authentically as a parent is recognizing where we are and who we are, all of who we are. The
Yes.
good, the bad, the ugly,
Mhm.
the hurt, the pain, and the joys of everything
Yes.
in life. And I think
Absolutely.
again, like you were saying, like we can set examples for our kids. Even if they're not our kids, we can be around kids and set examples. For those of y'all that aren't parents, you can still be a role model and a gift to kids that don't have parents, or kids that are missing a parent maybe, or
Mhm.
I've had a lot of couples do surrogacy and adoption, and it's the most beautiful thing because they get to bring these kids in under their wings and just be an advocate for them as a parent. So I think it's fantastic to just be
Absolutely.
on this journey.
Yes. And like you were saying, ooh, I lost my train of thought. But like you were saying with showing up, oh, apologizing and asking for forgiveness from our kids when we sometimes fall short. That is something I've learned too, is sometimes I raise my voice, and I know if I'm raising my voice, when she get upset, she's going to do the same thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes I go back to her and I go, I was upset in that moment. I didn't mean to express myself that way. I was just upset, but this is what I really need you to do. And I
Yeah.
try to give it to her in a way that she can understand, because I know she is mirroring me. She is
Yeah.
learning. She's soaking up everything that she sees. I'm the model. So I have
Yeah.
to be mindful of that.
Aw, I love it. And so when it comes to part of this talk of the authenticity, what shift you said you were in the military, right? And
Yes.
then you made this shift into what you're doing now. How was that? Do you find that both of them kind of work together, like what you've learned from the military and your experiences there and how you can apply it to your future, the things you're going to do in your business and where you are right now in your business?
Yes, it has absolutely helped me a lot. It's basically the foundation of my newfound purpose. I've taken a lot of skills, a lot of um way they do their organizations and stuff like that. I've taken it and applied it to my business and in my life as well. I've also, there's some things that I wouldn't take with me, and I'm aware of that, but the things that have helped me, I do apply it, especially resilience. It's something
Oh,
that
yeah.
I feel in the military, we go from, so as me, I went in at 18, so I was like a
Yeah.
kid, and
Yeah.
then I had a gun and I was in war, and then I had to go come back and try to figure out life. And that resilience piece, they try to teach it, but at a young age, your brain isn't all the way formed. So you don't understand that you're about to experience some traumatic things that you're going to have to overcome.
Yeah.
And I see it now in everyday life that we're all experiencing a lot of things, and sometimes we get stuck in those experiences, and we can just apply a couple of tools to help us move forward when we do get in that cycle, how to get out of it quicker. Not saying that the cycle won't come back, but we have tools and strategies to allow us to get out of it quicker and not stay stuck in that cycle for so long.
And, this poses a really good question because I know a lot of retired military or, veterans. Do you do work with a lot of people that are maybe in that realm of, like, they're retired or they're veterans?
I do, but I'm more geared towards women, but
Gotcha.
I do work with veterans and first responders.
I was gonna say, I know a lot of women military that are,
Yes.
they're finding their way back after their life of service.
Yes, absolutely. It's a
So
definitely a transition. It is
yes.
absolute, and I feel like it's not a sometimes it could be smooth, but sometimes it isn't. It isn't a smooth transition, especially trying to fill that gap
Yeah.
between leaving the service and then getting into a new career field or finding a new identity.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a really heavy topic for another podcast.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which is great. No, that's
Yes.
great though
Mhm,
because, just because I have a lot of people in my life that are very much, they've either walked through it or they're still walking through it.
mhm.
And I think that's part of the authenticity is knowing that we've had a past and we have a present and we have a future. So
Yes.
acknowledging all of the timelines,
Mhm.
which is another thing my daughter did in her homework was they were trying to draw pictures of their past and their present and their future. And it was so cute. She drew herself at 2 years old, 6 years old, and 21 years old. And
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
what?
Yes.
And I was like, how cool is that though, that
Right.
even at young ages, and some of us maybe don't even realize that we haven't acknowledged our past as a part of our present and future,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
that, there's things that we need to walk through or work through. That way we can find our way to our authentic selves, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Was there a transition point for you when you had the light switch come on when you're like, I know we've talked about your voice a lot, but was there a key moment that where you're like, "You know what? This is my past, but this is where I'm going now, and I'm gonna use my voice to do it." So, was there a key moment for you?
Yeah, there was, I know we said you in Clubhouse, you asked us to write down something that we, a fun fact
Oh,
about us.
yes, a fun
Yes,
fact.
yes, and I said that I was divorced twice before the age of 30. but I found that I was attracting the same partner over and over and over again.
Ooh,
I'm like, okay, it can't be them. It has to be something that's in me that's identifying with this.
this is
So,
big.
yeah, so the light switch came on, and I was like, let me do some soul searching inside and see what I need to clear up so I
Yeah.
can show up authentically as myself and attract a partner that resonates with my authentic self.
That's awesome because that's a really big thing that anybody has the opportunity to learn within themselves is that if you keep attracting, and this could be in relationships or even in your business, you'll notice you'll
Absolutely.
start attracting things to you as you're navigating your authenticity and
Mhm.
what you put out there. And so I just think that's a great way to look at how all of us can have these moments of where the light switch turns on and all of a sudden you realize there's something that you can address for you. Because I think a lot of us know that world peace could be solved if all of us maybe took a minute to address something inside of us first instead
Yes.
of trying to fix everybody.
Right.
It's like I feel like me and my friend, we joked about world peace and all that, but I was like, it's one of those things you're like, let's have world peace inside of us first.
Right.
And then
Mhm.
let
So
our world
what's on
be
the inside
okay.
comes on the outside. So let's work on
Yes.
inside, and it will manifest on the outside.
Absolutely, and that's why we have people like you that are encouraging people to, get on that path or get on that journey towards finding that freedom, and I think
Mhm.
that we can all agree that we want some level of freedom, and some of it comes with a lot of cost
Yes.
to, ourselves, honestly. Our ability to face the past, our ability to face the hard things, and, I used to do a couple of videos on just facing the giants because it
Yeah.
feels so big in the moment,
Mhm.
but once you faced it, you realized it wasn't as big as you thought it was and that it had such a hold on your life. Um, so as we start to round out our conversation, where do you see yourself going in 2024 as far as authenticity? Do you have some things that you're cooking up that we can hear about on today on the podcast? Or are you saving some surprises for us in 2024?
Yes, well, I do have a couple of surprises, but I do have free, like I said, free resilience workshops. Those are
Yeah,
kicking off at the beginning of the year. And I'm also starting a podcast. It's called Peacefully Ever After. And that will be launching in February. I don't know which platforms yet because I haven't done it, but
of course.
I'll let you know. But Peacefully Ever After it is a resilience podcast where we just talk about overcoming and getting that peacefully ever after. We always talk about the happily ever after, but we
Yeah.
forget about the peacefully ever after. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And I this is like my introduction to podcasting.
I
So
was gonna say, if
yes,
y'all aren't seeing her face right now, she is so lit up when she talks about this. This is what
yes.
I'm excited to see is that your journey is gonna be so much fun and you're gonna find even more peace and even
Mhm.
more things as you explore this, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna inspire so many other people too. Like I can totally see that for you. So I want to also say we want to talk about some tattoos. I've been promised a couple of tattoo stories. And we
Yes.
probably need to jump into that too because it is my Tattoos and Toddlers podcast. So
Okay.
let's get into your tattoo stories. I am just dying to know what you have and what happened when you got them.
Okay, so I have 2 little tattoos on my back. It's my mom and my dad's name.
Aw.
So when I joined the military, me and we call each other battle buddies. It was our first time to get off a base after training. So we said we're gonna go get
Oh
tattoos.
my gosh.
So we got drunk and when it got tattoos, it was so even though this tattoo is this little, it felt like my skin was getting ripped. And when he got to the other side, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" But afterwards, it was just like a connection piece between me and her because we got our first tattoos together right after our training and graduating our boot camp training. So
Oh
yes,
my
that's my tattoo
gosh.
story.
So that's your 2 tattoos, right? Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
absolutely.
That is
Yes.
way too funny because here recently, this photo right here, as my backdrop is
Mhm.
when, I've said this story before, but it just fits perfectly again here. that I went to a wedding convention, a wedding MBA convention, and me and my friend Kristen ran off and got $10 tattoos down the street. I mean, it was literally it was that same exact feeling of, "Oh my gosh, let's go get a tattoo. We've got time."
Yes. Yes.
And it was a celebration of we'd met in person for the first time, just these little things that when you're ready, willing, and able to jump in and make some memories, that's how I feel about
Yes.
tattoos sometimes, is that
Mhm.
sometimes you're just ready to go do the thing. What did your friend end up getting?
I think she got her mom name. So she got her mom name and I got my mom and dad name.
That's so sweet. I don't have
Yes.
any names on me at all.
Yes, I've been thinking about a new tattoo. I was like, "Maybe it's time for me to get a new one," but I don't know yet.
I
We'll
was
see.
gonna
I've
say
been thinking
maybe
about it.
if you do, maybe it's a symbol of this next phase of your life or this
Yes,
next transformational aspect of your life. You never know.
absolutely. Yes, I'm excited to see what's coming though. I am very excited.
Yes. Well, I look forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing how life, what life unfolds for you in this next year. I know that you've got a lot on your plate, as most of us do right now, between
Yes.
we're running businesses and we're parenting, and sometimes we're running off to tattoo parlors to get tattoos. But I just wanna thank you so much for coming on today, and I'm glad I could, like, break you in on your is this your first podcast interview?
Yes, it is.
I'm so
It
glad I
is.
could break you in on your first podcast interview. You're like the 3rd person I've broken into this podcast thing, just because it's not as scary as you think it is, and
Yeah.
I think if you just have the basic tools, like you're talking about, you have the basic tools to get started on resilience. If you just have the basic tools to get your voice out there, that's really all it is, and it's wonderful, and it's fulfilling. And so I just want to thank you again for coming on to be a guest and just letting yourself be seen and heard. So, as we're rounding out, is there any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with today regarding
Yeah.
showing up authentically?
Yes, I just want to say embrace the journey and cheer yourself on as you go through the journey. Because, yes, pat yourself on the back. Absolutely. Because you are in the right place at the right time and you're going to make it there when you're supposed to.
Yes, that has been
Yes.
on my mind all week long. Thank you so much for ending this episode with amazingness, and I will look forward to connecting with you again soon. I want to say goodbye, everyone, to the podcast today, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.